What's up, Brite Nation? So we are rolling right into another video for you guys. I feel like I live in this Nitto hoodie. You guys see it in
it's your favorite
every single video. Well, it's just comfy.
It's a little cold here today, so I'm double layered up a little bit because I was outside earlier. It's like 17 degrees here right now. Now it's probably less because it's dark.
But this video is going to consist of the LJ for the most part. I've got some shock towers to build, and we will get into that a little bit later. And then also, we're going to be working on the rear corners, right?
Yes. Probably going to get the rear corners hung and start doing the taillights and getting some cool stuff figured out in the back. And then we'll move to the front. But
it's not the only Jeep in here right now.
We also have Craig's in here. So this is the 392 swap that we did, and he's back in town and he's been beating it up. So I'm just going to give it a once over. I'm just going to go through it and give it a nut and bolt and check fluids and stuff while it's here, while Beck gets these cool shock towers welded up.
All right, so Chris and I could not find rear shock towers that would work with my build because at this point it is so custom that nothing worked the way that we wanted it to. And because we have the flat belly and the frame tuck, Chris just designed some rear shock towers for me through SolidWorks, and a buddy of ours got them cut out, and now that they're here, I'm going to tack them up and show you guys what Chris designed. Let me show you guys what I welded up.
These things are sick. Can't wait. So that's gonna go up here, get welded across the top of the frame and then gusseted down the front. And we'll have room in the back to put even more gusset, but it's not touching the body and it's all the way up in this pocket. And then the coilover should go straight down and it'll hang right off the back side of the axle, so that it should be almost perpendicular to that lower control arm. So we should have some pretty good control of this whole coilover setup.
It's gonna be beautiful and work phenomenal. You guys ready to see these welds? Yeah! Come take a look.
You got a little man over here. The professional in action. Good Lord. My God. Guess who just took my job?
I think I took it a long time ago.
You did. She did. She took it a long time ago. That's why I don't do any of the welding anymore. I just make pieces go together and she glues them. God, they look good. All right. Well, I guess, well, they're still warm. I can feel them there. All right, let's go get them in the Jeep. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna space them off the wall or off the inside of the wheel well. I got some 1/4-inch rubber that we're just gonna lay in there so that we have some sort of gap. I don't wanna put steel in there because when we pull the body off, it might damage the body or not wanna come out real easy. So we'll just use some rubber, go like that. Come forward to about there, and that's where she's gonna go. So now we'll add the little fingers that'll go on here for the outside gusset. We'll get this welded on, and then when we pull the cab, we can build a big, strong gusset and go under and around the back and really grab the frame. But we'll have to do that once the cab comes up. But for now, let's get her to tack these guys in there. There they are. They go all the way up to the top. Like I said, we're going to pull the body and I'll build a big gusset that'll wrap around the frame and pick up both sides, but we can't do it with it here, so we'll have to pull the body and then I can build a really nice gusset that she can weld in. Both sides. Woo woo.
All right, so going over this in its full capacity, we have decided that we need to cut the towers off and lower them down an inch.
Yeah, I spaced them up an inch because my original calculations, at full stuff, I wanted that axle up against that frame. But once we started redoing all the articulation, it's gonna put the 40 too far up into the body at full articulation. It's gonna put that 40 like up here. I have to lose this inch, gain it back down here, so that we don't run into,
the tub.
Limitations. Yeah, and if we do limit it, that just means the other side loses an inch of down travel, which then turns it into a 13, and that's useless. So yeah, we're gonna cut these towers off and just lower them back down where I wanted them.
Good morning, friends and family. Last night, Chris and I did retack the shock brackets and the towers back to where they need to be because those are placed and looking great. We did articulate and made sure everything was perfect yet again. So today, the plan is to move on to the front shock towers. We've gone back and forth with this a lot just because I didn't want to necessarily do tube for the front shock towers, but that is honestly the safest and strongest route. I don't know why, I just wanted something a little bit more intricate as far as design goes, but truth is also doing tube, it saves space under the engine bay, so that's what we're gonna go with. I guess here in a little bit we are gonna go dig out the tube bender and start getting after this.
So here's the sketch of what we need that is in by no means dimensionally accurate. I do know from the bottom of the frame to the top I want it to be 26.5 inches to clear that AC compressor. I know from here to the other side I need 15 inches. And from there down to the bottom of the frame is another 19.5. With a 5.5 inch radius, the length of this tube, because I have the two of them, you take 11 inches times pi, gives you 34.5 inches roughly. Divide that in two, you get 17.25. So I know that the material that I need to bend this and this is 17.25 inches. So minus the 5.5 inches from 19, you get 14. Minus 11 from 15, you get 4, and minus 5.5 from 26.5, you get 21. So you add all that together, and it gives you 56 inches of tube that I need to make all of this, hopefully, in one shot. I did have a 10-foot section, so we ended up just getting two 60-inch pieces, but this will give us a rough dimensional length that we need to start bending.
A little bit of extra, just in case.
Yeah, because you know we might make mistakes, so there's 4 inches extra. Beck got the tubes all cleaned up. We got 2 of them cut to 5 feet. So now we're gonna brave the weather outside and I'm gonna bend these real quick. But first we're gonna make some marks. All right, so the first things first, this is 60 inches. I know we can lose 4. So I bury 2 off the end, off of both ends. So then I take that measurement, run it all the way down to make another mark at 56.25. And then from our 2 inches, our first mark is 14 on this side. Then I can spin the tape around and I can go from this mark. Our next measurement was 21. That leaves us 21.25 inches between the marks. And if we do the math, the 2 radiuses swallow up 17.25 plus the 4 inches in the middle. The material should leave us 21.25 inches of material between these 2 marks. And it does. So the math is right. So now we're gonna go outside and bend it.
Y'all, this is where our scrap tubing is. It's not just snow, it's friggin' ice.
All right, plan B. Beck improvised for me and she welded me up a handle.
We're gonna test it, see if it breaks.
Ready?
Ready.
Really close. Oh, forget it. In the snow. This is where that 3 hours later we'll come in.
3 hours later.
Woo! Chris got these bent up.
Yeah.
And
it was chilly.
Yeah, it was chilly. Speaking of which, I had to change to a thicker hoodie because my other one was on the thin side. So the axles are totally squared up with the body. So now we can start getting our measuring.
So we are about 10 degrees back and 5 degrees in. And we're gonna build shock tower and brackets to that. to that measurement. So first I'm gonna see about getting that tube placed in here and how we're gonna fit it exactly. And then we'll build hangers from that. Probably somewhere in here like this, maybe? Maybe I'll put weld some tubes on here and we'll fish mount this in. Or maybe I can knock it in farther. I don't know. Maybe we'll get it on top of the frame. I haven't quite figured that part out yet. And then we'll build some boxes to this guy. But then from there, we'll just link the two tops together with a removable bar. And those will be the towers. So we might end up welding a nice big sleeve to that and then fish mouthing these onto the top and then gusseting the back side of both of them to the frame for some strength, and then we'll connect the tops, and I think that's what we're gonna do, and then we'll build a box to that. I think that's what we're gonna come up with. So let's cut some probably 2-inch tubes. We'll weld them into the front of the frame and get those in first, and then we'll fish mouth this.
Shock towers are mocked up and tacked in. It looks so awesome. Look at this, you guys. Honestly, it couldn't have worked out any better. The only thing is now we have to do it to the other side and it's got to match perfectly. Chris would like to walk you guys through the entire process. All right, show us the process.
So you saw the first bend. I didn't like how it sat in the Jeep. It was like narrower in the back, so I added this little kick to try to get that one side, the back side, out farther. And then what we ended up doing, these are still hot. Let me get
Mittens.
So we got some.
I didn't like the mittens.
I got some 2-inch tube. This is a quarter wall, 2-inch tube. We welded it onto a plate so that the frame just has more surface area to support this. If you just welded this straight to the frame, it's a smaller surface area and you could potentially rip this out of the frame. But now you have a big footprint, so that's why we went and did that. Then we had to set up the notcher, and we used this beautiful tool right here. I got this one at Speedway Motors, just the tubing notcher. Very convenient to notch tube. And then you just put a 2-inch die or a 2-inch hole saw in there to cut a 2-inch radius mouth on 1 3/4 tube. And then that should fit on there perfectly, as you saw on the other side. So now, let's get this other side in. Put that one over here and just clamp it onto there. Adjustability. This one will be like right here. Maybe we can put this outside of this guy or behind it. I don't know. Whatever we want to do. I'd be worried about the tire getting into it. I don't know. But we can always do it this way too. We can do that right there and then adjust them from inside. That would work. Oh my God, this is coming out so good. We got the coilover tops welded up. Well, they're not welded up because so everybody in here is happy. It's at full bump. As long as we were in here, we did tack the orbital plate in here so that it shoots to our steering links, and we have a lot of room. So we're pretty excited about that. I did stick the master cylinder on there to make sure we have clearance here, which we do. Yeah, so now we're gonna yank the body off, and then Becca's gonna spend the day welding up all the frame stuff and all the back towers, and then I'll build some gussets, and that is what we're gonna do today with this bad boy. She's gonna get a workout today.
So the shock towers are now completely welded up, and Chris and I are getting ready to put the shocks on, and then we're gonna do some articulating and make sure that the rear links will clear the frame, because we might have to French the frame in some just to allow more clearance for the links.
We're pretty sure we have to do that in the front, but we're gonna check the rear and we're gonna check the front one more time.
Alrighty, so for the most part, the welding is done across the top of the frame. I still have some welding to do on the axles, but I'm gonna wait until we can drop them, and that way I can turn them where I want them so I can weld really nicely and comfortably. I will end up pulling the motor and the trans with Chris, and then we are going to flip the frame over, and that way I can weld everything underneath. We can't do that right now though, because I'm waiting on one more part to come in, and then once that comes in, weld that stuff on, and then we can do just that. For now, we are going to close out the video doing some prep on Brite's buggy side chick.
So a while back when Kevin and I serviced it the last time, somehow we screwed up the spring rates and put them on the wrong corners and flip-flopped a bunch of stuff. So we're gonna yank the springs off, put them where they need to be, probably do an oil change on her, clean her up real good, and get her ready for Brite to take her out. So that's what we're gonna do for the rest of the day. But thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and share, and you can get all your Lite Brite merch and decals at
LiteBriteStudios.com. I thought we were going to still show this part of the video though. You know, you're closing it out right now.
Oh, well then, all right. B-roll it is.
Struggles of a simple service.
Yep, now that was a bolt, but we're gonna be pretty much done with this thing. I'm gonna swap some springs over and we're gonna put it back together. But again, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you next time. Bye. That I have, I only have an 11-inch circumference. No, damn it. God.
Hey, Chris, come over here. I got company. Hi.
Hey guys. There's more of you. Hi guys. That's crazy. All right, we gotta.
I've never seen them come over here.